It's been a few weeks since I last published a video, and it's Memorial Day today in the United States, so I decided I'd show you guys something special. This is a Radionette Combi combination radio and record player that was made in Norway. And you may be wondering why I'm showing you a Norwegian radio on Memorial Day, but that will all become clear pretty soon. This is probably going to end up being a two-part video because there's just too much to show in one. This set was most likely made in the early 1960s, but the records that came with it are much older. Tucked inside of a little pocket in the back of this radio is a nice Radionette branded record holder. But inside that was this Howard Radio Co. album of recordings, which is full of records that were recorded during World War II. Now I'm going to get to these in part 2. These are 78 RPM records, and the machine actually only plays 45 RPM records, so you can't even play these records on this machine, so I'll have to play them on a different one. There's stickers on the top that say ABK. Normally I'd remove something like that, and I may actually do that later, but I left them on there for now, and you'll see why. So first I'll show you guys the AM radio portion.
Ton of credit for that stat line at Boston, right, against the team that hadn't lost yet in these playoffs, and he played every second last night. If Terry Rose, Marcus Morris is
back end to his right to count 2-2.
It picks up a fair bit of interference, unfortunately.
Responsible for 2 attempted murders.
But it's also reasonably sensitive.
And in one incident, firing a handgun at the victim, which...
Only because the pitch guy, not that he's losing anything.
Right.
And the 2-1. Hit on the ground at the middle end.
I'd adjust the tone control, but unfortunately that control is broken.
Maybe the dribbler down third.
It's tucked inside there.
But there's a good hard ground ball.
It's the wrong time of day for shortwave, and I don't want to wait to get this video out, so I'm just going to show it briefly, but there probably won't be anything to receive, except maybe at the top of this band. We'll see. This is the old Marine band. Which is largely disused. You can hear it's almost silent on the second shortwave band. I think even if this was the right time of day, I wouldn't be receiving anything. This set hasn't really been restored at all, so that's part of the problem. Now I'm going to show you guys the phonograph function, which you engage by pressing the P button. You can see it also says pick up underneath. Now you may be wondering where the heck the record player is, and it's hidden under this door. I was going to clean this up further and restore it, but I just ran out of time before Memorial Day, so I'm just going to have to show it to you as it is. It has some kind of, like, I don't know, smoke damage or something on the turntable. Partially cleaned it up, but you can see most of it's still there. And to use the record player, you just push down on that and then lift up the tone arm. When you put it back down, it snaps back into place under that little dome there. I did have to repair the pickup when I got this set years ago. This plastic piece was broken loose. I forget how I repaired it. I've had this thing for at least 5 years. I don't remember exactly when I got it. So I'm going to put a record in there. We've got Sunrise Serenade by Glenn Miller. It's a little tricky to get them to sit in there properly, but there it is. So pop up the tone arm. Let's switch it on. Move the tone arm to the left there to start it off. And just carefully place down the record. I obviously can't play this for very long because that's a copyrighted record, but you get the idea, and it sounds pretty good if you ask me. Carefully skip ahead there. I know that's not great for records, but this isn't really a particularly valuable one. You get the idea. Oops. And it shuts off when you push it back down into the little holder there. You just lift the record out. Being careful not to drag it across the metal piece there. You can load in your next one. And when you're done, you just close up that little door. Remember to shut it off. On the back of the set here, you can see it's got 4 feet, so it can, support itself stably. You got it back like that. To open it, you just turn this little knob like I did, and then pull that forward, and that opens it to the position where you can retrieve the records out of here. If you press down on this, it opens all the way. See, there's a hookup for an external record player. There's just one speaker. It's here on the side. It's a pretty good sized unit. The antenna is this coil here that goes all the way around the set. There's a schematic for this set glued to the back. It says Radionette Combi-Star. Most of the instructions are in Norwegian. They didn't bother to translate them. But this does appear to have been an export set. It seems a lot of these smaller European radio manufacturers did the bare minimum to turn their domestic models into export models. And this is an example of that. But it is still a nice radio. And I think that's an interesting part of the history of it. The construction's a mix of printed circuit boards and point-to-point wiring. Those are the adjustments for the various bands. These little drums rotate. You turn the top. They're actually pretty easy to turn, so I don't want to bump them accidentally. There's the main tuning capacitor there. The tuning string's actually a tight steel wire. That's a capacitor there. It's all original. I haven't replaced any of them. Here's the motor for the phonograph mechanism. And I believe in here is some of the IF and AF circuitry for the radio. I haven't actually torn that apart. It runs on 5 D cells, which are down here in this cardboard tube. That's not original. That's a replacement that I made. There is another speaker grill on this side, but another speaker was never fitted. So that's about all there is to show for the radio itself. That's it for part 1 of this video. In part 2, I'm going to show you these records, which I think are actually more interesting than this fairly interesting radio. So stay tuned for that.